C'est tutoriel écran. Grand écran. Cracheuse de Hulk. Jouer à Marvel Avengers et accomplir 3 défis. Maintenant, on débrouillé la pioche écraseuse de Hulk. Style supplémentaire. Le Hulk baisseuse. Tenez la bête publiée avant le 16 août. Rendez-vous sur Avengers Beta, je sais pas quoi. Donc les gars, mettez oui pour aller en fait 3 pour avoir la NCNCS, je sais pas quoi là, dire un nom de TGV la gueule. Donc marquez oui, même s'il y a 0 vers ça fait chier, mais c'est pas grave. L'important c'est de kiffer, faire des lives, ne rien lâcher et que tu kiffes toi-même. Donc let's go. Le chargement est ultra long. Ultra long. Les gars, c'est pas grave si on bug, hein, c'est pas grave. Si on bug, on ira en FNCS. Putain. Ça redescend, ça fait bien. On va aller à Misty, les gars. Marc, on va aller à côté. Hop. Limite en public, j'ai des débats. Regardez les gars, en public, on met pas. Peut-être je peux faire un petit kill de loin. Oh, dommage. Imagine les gars, je leur ai mis un 262. Non, sa grosse gueule. La zone elle est où? Putain. Oh. Let's go. Obtenez le meilleur score de défi. Commenter pour inscrire votre nom. Wow. Yeah. Ok, on va en grand écran, les gars.
Every game that stood out. So remember, every single game we watched today, every single play matters the most.
That's right, man. And this is something we're going to talk about for the whole time, right? Is every interaction matters. Every time two people square up, one of them will be eliminated, while the other is allowed to continue moving and continue earning those points, while the other that lost has to wait. They have to reset and come back to the game with a fresh mindset and hope to earn more points.
And these guys have been doing it all weekend long since Friday. They've been playing in these set lobbies, these very difficult games, and for some of them, they're done. They've already played it through, but for others, regions that we're looking forward to, EU up next, and these guys have such a competitive field. Look at the first list of qualified players, and that is just 1/5.
And they've gone through so many different hurdles. We had 4 heats in total, top 25s qualifying from each and every one, down to the final 100 players. These guys are at the top of their game, and they're going to be playing against other people who are used to winning. On this page alone, I'm looking at Scouts, Keziks, Seventor, Mongrel, big, insane, legendary names looking to get another title under their belts.
Reason was on that page too, the player who won Heat 4 against people like Letwick. Flois came out of Heat 1 with a dominant performance. We're going to be looking at him to see if he can maintain a good start out of the early game. Tayson, who had the first start in Heat 2 with the back-to-back victory royales that we've talked about before, Matt, how much that matters. His lead was almost insurmountable after only 2 games.
And whether you're watching in-game in Party Royale or anywhere online, just pick a name over here, follow it through, find a new favorite player, and follow your favorite old ones too, like Letchi, like Fasroki, XP2, who's an insane winner, winning back-to-back games through all stages of the competition. These guys are about to play some of the hardest games of their lives and are going to give us some of the best Fortnite we have ever watched.
And yesterday was literally like a little taste of that, right? And we've seen these pockets of people already setting their eyes on grand finals. Today will bring some of the best Fortnite we've ever seen. I mean, there's no way of knowing. Will someone break away and hold off strong? Will people go head to head and kind of pull each other back? And at the very end, someone will cross the finish line. No way of knowing, guys. This will all unfold before our very eyes.
Yeah, I mean, Zeke usually asks me the question, who do you think is going to win? I'm going to answer before you get to ask any one of these 100 players because they all deserve it 100% all the way up to this point. I'm serious. It's anyone's game. Every single person on all those pages for Europe are so good.
And I want to add one thing to that too, because it might be anybody's game, but also think about the fact that one player after all of this, out of 100, is going to be walking away the winner, the champion. That is just mind-blowing to me.
Yesterday we got to see the top 25 move on, and we thought about which 75 would fall. Now it's the 99 that will not make the cut. With that being said, though, let's take a look at a replay that has led us to this point.
Yeah. If you haven't joined us on the broadcast just yet, there was 4 heats to play through. Each of those had 100 players. Top 25 moved up from every single one of them. We're watching the winner of heat number 1, and we're highlighting him because he won in a surprising fashion, coming out from behind and dueling a lot of other top players, and he did it with style, winning a game with something like 5 eliminations and then taking the lead from there and being consistent all the way through. That's why Advise is certainly somebody to pay attention to.
Yeah, the name to remember is Wave Advise, especially anyone having Wave in front of their names. But just look at the way he broke down every game. It wasn't something under control for him at all times. It was always back against the wall, but always found a way through to win every single time.
And he was dueling against players like Clement, who are going to be here today. But moving on into Heat 2, if you missed that one, this was electric. This was fantastic. We already talked about Tayson's back-to-back, but he did it again with style too. That's why we have to keep an eye on him going into this. And There's some interesting things about him. We saw a sneak peek about that landing spot, and that's where our previous FNCS Invitational
Today too, so these guys will have to face off against each other at the same drop spot in the same end games, and it's unpredictable as to what will actually end up breaking down.
There's another player too in that heat. It was Kinzel. They ended up dueling. Also somebody who came out of Steamy Stack, so we'll have to keep that in mind. But moving into Heat 3, this is something that caught a lot of people by surprise. Why? Because X-Weez, while he has been pretty consistent overall his placements in FNCS and other tournaments like that, nobody expected what he did throughout the qualifiers. Nobody expected a second place on day 3, into a first place on day 4, into a first place in the Heat yesterday.
No.
To a win. Just look how fast he is past edits, landing the bullets that he needs to land to be able to get eliminations and then win games close range, 4 people back to back, and he did this in multiple games.
And that's not all. While X-Weez might have dominated his heats, there's still one more. To find the last 25 players, we had to go through one of the most difficult ones overall. There was players like Mongrel in the next heat. There was players like Reason, and those two have been going back-to-back against each other for quite some time, starting from the day 1 3 weeks ago. But Reason showed up again, and even though they dueled and took first and second in this heat, Reason seemed to come out far and ahead, the champion of that heat. And for one reason, I think, no pun intended, the Holly Hedges uncontested drop spot.
Yeah, with no one fighting you down early game, you have a huge advantage on playing the rest of your game out, going for positions, going for wins. That being said though, Reason and Mongrel are going to be able to battle it out once again here today in these grand finals, and it's the final round for these guys to wrap up their story.
And the important thing to note from Reason, he did win back-to-back in heat number 4 yesterday against players like Letwick, who had even Kit Shockwave launcher to try to put him down. He does not care and will go for the biggest streak of 2 back-to-back games in terms of eliminations and wins. So that total amount of points, ridiculous from Reason. We'll have to see if he's in form today.
That's the biggest question across the board, right? Who is in form? A lot of these players, they already know the field. They've already scouted each other out, and just like we've done our research, they have too. Now the question is, who will hold strong? Who will walk away the champion? With that being said, guys, it is time to get into the first game of the day here in EU. So let's get ready to toss it over to our casters. We've got Clay Staling and Sundown to take us through all the action. Gentlemen, over to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Jonesies, Bonesies, he's, she's, theys, and thems, welcome to the first game of the FNCS Grand Finals in EU. And I hope you got your popcorn ready, whether it's literally or the emote in Party Royale, because this game is about to be a blast.
I am ready for seeing all the action unfold. I hope everybody's got their favorite emote out, whether it be take a seat, whether they're with their glow sticks out raving. I'm ready. I know you're ready, Sundown. It's going to be amazing.
Enough from us. Let's take us into game number 1. The analyst that set it up so well. Shout outs to Zeke, Bala, and Showager. But now we're into match number 1. This is it. 6 games to decide who will walk away with that Axe of Champions. Who will be the top player in arguably the most competitive region in Fortnite. It does have the most participants, and there's $800,000 up for grabs here. And here's the initial drop spot.
And it looks like everyone's sticking through to where they planned on dropping. We have 3 players in Steamy. We've got, I think, only 1 or 2 players there in Caddy Corner, the 4 in Lazy Lake that we've seen time and time and again from Europe. And of course, we've got Rezon and Holly Hedges, and it seems like he may be alone.
And one of the best comments I think I saw coming out is, wow, everyone is really scared of Rezon. And if you look at some of those early game drop spots, both in heats and I'm assuming now in the grand finals, everyone stays really far away from him. And you can see that in the bottom right-hand corner on the map. Not a single triangle remotely close to him representing another player. That's because he's done such a good job over the course of the entirety of this tournament to stake out the claim, and then also getting a nice little elite chest right there, granting him the legendary burst AR, and he's set to go now. He can begin his rotation and head to center zone. He has those 6 crash pads, which you've seen him execute on so well, and he's basically set to now just farm the material and swing on over.
And you saw how careful he was being. He wasn't taking a chance shooting that chest. He didn't want anything to go wrong in game number 1, because that sets the pace of your games going forward. Whether you get out to a head start or whether you get to climb your way back from an unfortunate off-spawn elimination. However, Hen, on the other side of it, does have players nearby. Loadout not as great as what we just saw on Rezon,